Ric Flair, in Ric Flair fashion, went absolutely nuts. Man, he has the craziest takes ever. We're going to get into all that. Plus, Ric Flair has a shocking confession. He bangs fat girls, guys. All right, guys, we're going to get into all that. Plus, Francis Ngannou speaks about John Jones, says that's the fight he wants. Even though they're in two different organizations, Francis sees it coming together. We're going to get into all that. Arman Sarukian is going in on UFC World Champion Ilia Topuria. He's calling him out. He's got a lot to say about Ilia, and he basically called Ilia a delusional liar in a way. We're going to get into all that. Plus, we're going to get into Ronda Rousey's next fight. She's talking about what fight she would do after she fights Gina Carano. We're going to get into all that, guys. So let me check the chat real quick. We got F Bell 350 in the building. The GOAT's live. We got Arpan the Don saying, yes, we're live. There we go, guys. We got a lot going on. The chat's already popping off. Shout out to everybody that subscribes. My name is King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I coach at the best gym on the planet, Extreme Couture. And that's not me saying that. That's the MMA media having a vote, and we have won Gym of the Year like multiple times. So we've got several world champions there. Shout out to Extreme Couture, guys. And shout out to you. Everybody in the chat, everybody that subscribes, everybody that's banged the notification bell and turned on notifications, because I go live sporadically like today. The goal was 9 p.m. It's now 11:17 p.m. No telling what might happen. That's why, for those of you that bang the bell, I know you're real ones, because then you're going to know when it's happening and we can be on here together, because I'm trying to connect. Let's go. Speaking of connections, I want you guys to just up your game, guys. Fight Circus. Go connect with them on Instagram at Fight Circus. They have the craziest fights you've ever seen in your life. They got big fat dudes fighting, smoking cigarettes. They've got beer boxing. You're like, what is beer boxing? And it's what you think it is. People drinking beer while boxing. They're getting drunk and boxing. They've got intergender fights. They got everything you could possibly imagine. Little people versus big people, spinning the wheel of violence. Everything at Fight Circus. And tell your coach to go to StudioMillions.com. Studio Millions will pack their gym full of students who stay, pay, and refer, so they can live that dream lifestyle they wanted when they got into martial arts. And you're going to be the one that facilitated that for them, so you're going to be very, very, very appreciated by your coach. Send them to StudioMillions.com. Let's get right into it. Let's read this chat, and then we're going to hop on. Fight Circus is the best show out there. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. He got you live on this live. Felony is there too. Oh, I'm live on Felony's live. Guys, Felony's live. I'm live. We're live. Let's run it. We're live. Fight Circus. Let's effing go, man. Speaking of Felony, shout out to Felony Charles Bennett. MMA legend. Hit his Cash App, guys. Boom. There you go. So, shout out to everybody who's popped into the chat. We're going to get right into tonight's agenda. The big news story of today is Ric Flair went off on Ariel Helwani's show. I'm not the biggest Ariel Helwani fan, guys. I think he's kind of like a instigator, a shit starter, a troublemaker, I like to build, right? I want to build people up. He seems to be like a more of a destructive force. Like when the UFC spent millions of dollars and put together all these packages and wanted to do something for the fans so that they could announce Brock Lesnar, like Ariel leaked it. You know what I'm saying? Like he tried to get the jump on. It's like, dude, they're trying to do something for the fans and you're trying to, like, what are we doing here, bro? But he had Ric Flair on today, and Ric Flair is fucking amazing. So Ric Flair has some very hot takes. Let me read this. I'm here from Felony's channel, Fight Circus Rules. Yeah, Fight Circus is freaking wild, man. And Ric Flair said today that his daughter should be the main event, that his daughter should be only fighting for world championship belts. And obviously, he's a little biased because in WWE that did not happen at WrestleMania, but that's what he feels should have happened. But what I found even more entertaining, amusing, interesting, compelling is that Ariel Helwani asked Ric Flair about his sexual past. And there was a dude back in the day who played basketball. His name was Wilt the Stilt. And Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain went viral after his career for claiming that he had slept with 10,000 women while he was in the NBA. Now, there's 365 days in a year. So in 10 years, there's 3,650 days. So that's like 3 chicks a day for 10 years straight every day. That is a busy schedule. And so Will the Stilt said he had a busy schedule like that, like 3 chicks a day for a decade. Ric Flair says that he beat Will when Rick was like 39. He's like, by the time I was 39, I already beat Will, right? And then, in true Ric Flair form, he kept it real. He told Ariel Helwani, he said, Ariel, they weren't all 10s. I beat Wilt Chamberlain's record, but they weren't all 10s. Ric Flair says he even went up into the heavyweight category. He said he slayed some heavyweights, guys. And as disgusting as that might be, all you fat, lazy bastards out there might do the same thing. You know what I mean? So I couldn't believe he said that. I found that quite entertaining. Ric Flair has a shocking past, and he confessed it on Ariel Helwani. And guess what, guys? If he's willing to admit that he's slaying heavyweights, he's probably telling the truth about the numbers, because guess what? It sounds like that's a much easier task to accomplish, although maybe physically challenging. Maybe take a lot of effort. You got to move a lot of body weight around to do that. That's probably easier to accomplish than all dimes. So Ric Flair, great interview on Ariel Helwani. That's why we all love Ric Flair. Shout out to Rick. Man, you know, if my uncle wasn't Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair might be my favorite wrestler. You know what I'm saying? But my uncle was Hulk Hogan, R.I.P. So, you know, we got to keep it in the family, just like I'm my own favorite fighter. You know what I mean? And Hulk Hogan's my favorite wrestler. So let's keep it pushing into the next topic of discussion for tonight. Francis Ngannou. So there's 2 people who are freakishly large that I've encountered in my life. Francis Ngannou is one of them, where you look at him and you're like, whoa, bro, you are a big ass person. And it's kind of interesting because he sort of reminded me of my uncle, because my uncle's like that. My uncle was at the peak of his body mass. He was like 6'8", 330 pounds, something like that. Now, Francis isn't quite that big, but it's still kind of jarring when you're around Francis. Francis trains at Extreme Couture, so we see him up there quite frequently now that he's training for a fight as well. Oh, shit. John Hogan in the chat. What's up? What's up? Hey, everyone. And Francis says that when he was offered the John Jones fight in the UFC, that it was actually fake news. It was not real. It was not a real offer. That they were doing it as a form of negotiation. Because, so what happens is, oftentimes in fight negotiations, they don't just offer you a fight, right? They'll offer you a fight that they want you to take. And if you don't take it, they'll say somebody else is going to take it. Or if you do this fight, we're going to give you this fight. But this fight, what they'll do is they'll it's like carrots and sticks, right? And they will dangle these things in front of you to get you to sign deals that maybe are not in your best interest, but they have something that you want, but they may not be able to deliver. So you got to be able to navigate the situation. And Francis is saying that when they offered John Jones fight, and they were publicly saying that that's the fight that they're trying to make, that was never a real fight, that Francis never got an official offer or anything of that nature. So he does say that before he retires, that is the fight he wants. Francis Ngannou called out John Jones again. And trust me, guys, I'm at Extreme Couture. Francis wants to fight John Jones. I know it. My coaches know it. They're Francis's coaches. They know it. Like Francis says it. All the training partners know it. Everybody not only knows that Francis wants to fight John Jones, we all believe he can beat John Jones. And I know that sounds crazy, guys. Oh my gosh, John Jones is a good wrestler. What's Francis good? Listen, we wrestle at Extreme. We have like Olympic level wrestlers. Francis can get as much wrestling work as Francis needs to get right for that fight. And Not saying anything, but maybe he's been training for quite some time in wrestling now. So the same way that someone will go from high school to the Olympics in 4 years of college wrestling, how long has Francis been training at Extreme Couture? So how much better could his wrestling have gotten? As an example, let's look at Chris Curtis. When Chris Curtis came to Extreme Couture, he had just fought in the PFL and he got taken down like 10 times by a Russian dude in the PFL. Then he comes to Extreme Couture, and in like his first 3 fights, he has 100% takedown defense. In fact, he stuffed something crazy like 28 shots. He stuffed 28 shots. So he went from getting taken down 10 times to stuffing 28 shots because of training at Extreme Couture. So I believe Francis can beat John Jones. That's a crazy ass statement. I know, guys. I told you in past lives that I don't take the middle road where I go, oh, well, you know, it's a great fight and, you know, the fans are going to... No! Francis will beat John Jones. Let's make that fight happen, guys. Up next on the agenda. You guys are talking about Fight Circus. The owner of Fight Circus is calling me right now. That's why it went mute for a little bit and I had to touch the button to turn it off. I'm recording from my phone. You know what I'm saying? We got the setup going, but I'm recording from my phone. Now, we're going to trick this whole place out. We got a whole thing coming. That's another subject for another time. Arman Sarukian, because somebody commented on how to pronounce his last name. Arman Sarukian. And I pay attention, right? I'm very coachable. So Arman Sarukian went in on Ilia Topuria, and he says Ilia Topuria shaves his ass, guys. And if those aren't fighting words, I don't know what is. He says he shaves his arms, he shaves his legs. What else does he shave? He must shave it all, right? And Arman says that Arman's a real man and he would never shave his ass. He says that Ilia is not a real man because Ilia obviously shaves his ass and that Arman wouldn't shave his ass. Therefore, he's the real man. I don't know what that's got to do with fighting, but maybe he's extrapolating out, right? And saying that the real man would win in a fight. Furthermore, Arman also says, because Ilia just said that Ilia plans on fighting Islam Makhachev and submitting Islam, because every fight Ilia tries to do something to shock the world. And in this fight with Islam, he believes the way to shock the world is to submit Islam Makhachev. Arman says, Khabib can't even do that, bro. How are you going to do that? Right? So the beef is heating up between Arman and Ilia. I'm picking Ilia. Like I said, guys, I pick sides, okay? I'm not Mr. Middle Ground. I'm picking sides. I pick Ilia against Arman. So hopefully we see that fight, and hopefully there's more bizarre insults coming out of the Russian community or whatever is going on over there, where they're insulting each other's ass hygiene. Which I guess if you want to build a fight, you insult a man by saying he shaves his asshole. That's what's going on, guys. And further MMA news. Oh gosh. Listen, man, it's late at night out. All right, guys, we're having fun. I got this Zevia. See, I got two. This is how I do it, right? This is called doubling up. All right. So this is a Mountain Zevia in honor of Felony. Felony was living with me for a while for his last bare knuckle fight, and all he drinks is Mountain Dews. And I was like, you know what? Let's remember Felony properly. Let's get some Mountain Zevias. This one has, I believe, 75 milligrams of caffeine. This one has 34. This is the cola flavor. I have this one in the freezer longer, so this one's more like a slushie. This one's just ice cold, guys. So if you need a life hack, take your caffeinated beverages, drink a little bit so they don't overflow, put them in the freezer, and then you have slushies, guys. I do this with energy drinks. I do this with Zevias. And these aren't the energy drinks. They also have Zevia energy drinks, guys. I'm not even sponsored by them. They should pay me, right? These people should pay me, guys, the way I speak about them. But they have 0 calories. So I got to lose another quick 10, 20 pounds. So what I do is instead of eat, I drink 0 calorie carbonated beverages. That's not diet advice. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying go listen to your doctor. Whatever you're obese, out of shape, doctor or doctoress is doing with their life is what they're going to... You just listen to them. They're health professionals. I'm not. You know what I mean? I won a professional MMA title at 44 years old. I have unlimited cardio, right? My girlfriend doesn't like when I bring up that she's 20 years younger than me, but she is. And I've got unlimited stamina, guys. You get what I'm saying, right? Don't listen to me, right? Listen to a fat medical professional who's going to tell you what some book said that they've never done in their life. Listen to them, okay? I don't know if you guys noticed or not. I don't listen to nerds, but you know. So I had a very, very severe injury one time, and they were like, dude, you have herniated discs in your L4, L5. You have bone degeneration. You have degenerated discs. You have spinal stenosis. And this is an obese female doctor telling me this on the phone. And so I'm like, let's say it's October, right? And she's telling me this. I'm on the phone. I'm at Twin Peaks with my dear friend, my boy Doc Ock that owns Fight Circus. We're enjoying the festivities. And this doctor's trying to tell me what's wrong. And the MRI says and this and that. And I said, okay, so it's October 14th. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're telling me that I should take this fight on November 12th. And she says, absolutely not. Don't, what do you mean? No, never fight again. No, you can't fight. And I said, hey, I'm going to get back to eating these chicken wings. I got to go. Boom. Hung up on her. We don't listen to nerds. I win and fight. I won. I went and fought again. I won. I went and fought. And I won a belt. We don't listen to them. Okay. You guys listen to them. Maybe. I don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm highly caffeinated. And I'm not saying that you guys listen to them. I would hope you don't. But because I'm on this platform, I have to tell you to. You get what I'm saying? Like by law, right? Like, or I'm liable when you go do something awesome, you know what I mean? And then go drop, 80 pounds and have six-pack abs, and then I'm to blame, right? You get what I mean? So anyway, always listen to doctors, guys. Always take medical advice. They read out of books, even though they don't do anything in their real life. Listen to what they say. Yeah, and so like I had another dude, a chiropractor doctor dude, tell me the same thing. Never fight again. You're risking being paralyzed. You shouldn't fight. You should never fight again. And I looked at him and his pot belly and I was like, bro, you shouldn't fight. And I went and fought. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I get down, right? So anyways, Ronda Rousey discusses the only situation where she would fight again after this Gina fight. And she says it's another Gina fight. If something crazy happens in this fight, Ronda's open to fighting Gina again. So that's probably a big reason why the UFC didn't re-sign her and now she's at MVP, because they're not in the business of signing one-off fights, right? So unless Ronda plans on coming back and being an actual contender and trying to be relevant in the rankings, they're not interested. But now she's over at MVP. She's going to do one fight, bring some eyeballs, shed the shine on the rest of the card, get the fighters some publicity, build the brand for them, and then she's going to ride off into the sunset. Let me pop into the chat, see what's going off. Okay. We got here from Felony's channel, Fight Circus Rules. With the Stilt, what a legend of... Oh, Wilt the Stilt, what a legend of basketball. Yeah, man, and his legendary record. If people want to say that it's not true, that those numbers don't add up in that time frame. Wilt says that it is true. He ran through 10,000. That's what he said. Is John Jones actually the GOAT like everyone claims? F Bell 350. Is John Jones actually the GOAT like everyone claims? That depends on the asterisks. Are you saying that you can be a GOAT and still test positive for picograms? Because if you're saying picograms don't matter, if you're saying dirty drug tests don't matter, if you're saying performance-enhancing drugs don't matter, then John Jones is the GOAT. But if you're saying that if you get popped for performance-enhancing drugs, if you get popped with picograms, then that taints and tarnishes your legacy and you can no longer be the GOAT because you were on steroids, well, then John Jones can't be the GOAT. So those are the two camps battling over the John Jones GOAT thing. A lot of people say that GSP is the GOAT. A lot of people say Khabib is the GOAT, but there's a very, very interesting theory about Khabib that I heard, which is Khabib is 29-0. But if you look at his actual opponents, he was fighting essentially amateur fights that were put on his professional record in a promotion that his dad ran against dudes in like amateur rule sets almost. They weren't like 3 5-minute rounds. You know what I'm saying? They weren't in a cage or a ring. And those fights still went on his record. So the same way someone could be 10-0 as an amateur and 10-0 as a pro, and they would have a combined record of 20-0. That's what Khabib's actual record is. It's his amateur, which was listed as pro, and his dad was setting the matches up. So whatever that means. Those matches, which would not be considered professional matches in America, are listed on his professional record. So in fact, people are saying he's closer to like 17-0 or 19-0. But people are contending that his 29-0 is misleading and misrepresenting what he actually was able to accomplish. Shout out to Zevias. Yes. I'm used that in an argument. What are we using in the argument that you shave your ass, bro? That's, hey, man, those are fighting words, bro. Use it if you're ready to scrap. His plowing record. Jones is the best for some, with an asterisk. Fedor Emelianenko is GOAT. Man, what do you say about Fedor Emelianenko versus Dan Henderson? What are you saying that doesn't count because Fedor was past his prime? Because Dan Henderson was like an 85er, and you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if I had to think of my GOAT, who would my GOAT be, man? Fuck, dude. Ilia is looking pretty goaty right now. Ilia Topuria, he might be the best fighter I've seen. I know people like to say Demetrius Johnson is, but Demetrius Johnson, if you go back and watch his fight with Ian McCall, he got kind of balled up there for a minute with Ian McCall, and Ian McCall was on his background and pounding him, like, you know. Also, he lost to Henry Cejudo. I don't know, man. I think Ilia might be the emerging GOAT, guys. Ilia Topuria, and especially if he goes and sparks Islam, then what is anybody going to say? 10 consistent. What? Felony, what are you saying? 10 constantly? 10 constantly? 10 constantly what? 10 Zevias a day? Bro, Felony, man. This is that Mountain Zevia, bro, in your honor. I know you don't fuck with this. You only fuck with Mountain Dew, bro, but you know what I mean? Shout out to Felony. So yeah, guys. Yeah, I've also been thinking a lot about this subject of anti-aging. And there's a dude named David Sinclair. He's a Harvard geneticist. And he has reversed aging by up to 75% in 6 weeks in animals. So he's done animal studies, and they just got approval to go to human trials. So they're literally approved for human trials. And the first thing they're going to do is there's like optic nerves that can be damaged through aging. And this human trial is set to try and reverse optic nerve and regrow them, like turn them younger. So if someone's like 75 with bad eyes, this clinical trial is going to reverse the age of their optic nerves and put them at like 18 years old, right? And if they're able to do this, because they've done it in eyeballs in animals, they've done it in cells in animals, they've done it in organs in animals, and in some mice, they've been able to completely like reverse aging through things like, so this is crazy because they talk about billionaires have blood boys. And if you've never heard about this, this is saying that like in Silicon Valley, the billionaires hire young, healthy guys, and then they take the blood out of the young, healthy guys, and then they remove their blood as the billionaire removes his own blood through like a IV, and then they have another IV that is bringing in the blood of the blood boy, right? And so now they have youthful blood, and that sounds like this crazy like vampiric conspiracy theory. But the fact of the matter is that in animal studies, if you take an old mouse, and you take that old mouse's blood, and you take the young mouse's blood, and you put the young mouse's blood in the old mouse, and the old mouse's blood in the young mouse, the old mouse turns young again, and the young mouse turns old. And now they're trying that in humans, guys. So I'm watching this crazy shit unfold, and this is also like kind of what's going on with peptides, right? Like pretty soon everybody's going to be skinny. We've got all these GLP-1s and all this shit. We've got semaglutide. We've got Retta. We've got some crazy shit out there, right? And I'm not saying those things are healthy by any means. Do your own research, right? But pretty soon obesity is not going to be a thing. Aging's not going to be a thing. So can you imagine when there's a dude like Yoel Romero who's just like not getting older, or like even a better example, like Vitor Belfort. As Vitor got older, he started to do TRT and he could still get after it. But what if Vitor Belfort was like 25 years old for life? Like for fucking 30, 40 years and just fighting. It's going to be fucking crazy. Let me read the chat before I get off on a fucking cell repair tangent. Ilia only beat Volk, Holloway, and Oliveira. They all look depleted when he beat them, especially Volk coming off quick KO. I don't know, bro. That looks like a resume to me. Volk, Holloway, and Oliveira. Dude, he KO'd Holloway, bro. You know what I mean? That's some real vampire shit. Yeah, right. So, like, that's allegedly actually going on in Silicon Valley, is they have blood boys, and they're finding the healthiest dudes they can find and then taking the blood from the blood boy and putting it into their own body. Just like the mouse experiments, right? So that's fucking crazy. Also, they have... so essentially at the end, there's these things called telomeres, right? And telomeres are at the end of, I believe it's your mitochondria, and they determine like how much life you have left. And there's things that can slow down telomere aging, because the shorter the telomere gets, the less you have to live. So there's now stuff that can like essentially stop telomere aging. And that now they're talking about stuff that can regrow telomeres. Between supplements, between peptides, plus, dude, this fucking shit they're putting in people's brains with this Neuralink, and like paralyzed people are going to be able to walk again. There's dudes out here that are playing video games with their minds because of Neuralink. That's happening today. I also saw some crazy ass shit. I saw a TED Talk where this dude was talking about we're going to be able to regrow organs using stem cells in a lab, right? And he's like, can you imagine if you could regrow kidneys in a lab, right? And they're talking about this like this crazy technology, and everybody in the crowd is like, fuck, man, if that comes out, that'll help so many people. And he's like, hey guys, I just want to let you know, this isn't science fiction. We've been doing this for years. Meet Daniel. And Daniel walks out, and they're like, Daniel was the first recipient of a stem cell kidney that was grown in a lab. It's not a human actual, like, he didn't grow it. They didn't transplant another human. They had like a shell of a kidney, and they shot it with stem cells, and the stem cells grew a fucking kidney. They like took the shell, or the shell dissolved or whatever, and then they took this stem cell kidney and they put it in Daniel, and Daniel's alive. And they're like, yeah, he's been alive for several years after his kidney transplant. So not only is this video like probably a decade old now, in the video they were already doing stem cell regrowth of kidneys. So they can already regrow kidneys. And this isn't like widespread knowledge, right? You guys can go look it up. You can look at the TED Talk. You can look this shit up. Like, this is already going down. They already have the clinical trials going down for the optic nerve of the eye, so that when people's eyes get older, they can just, whatever they're doing, putting stem cells in them or whatever, to make the eye young again. They can reverse age of cells in animal studies already. And they're taking it to human trial. This is happening right now, guys. So anyways, the future's going to be fucking crazy. Let me read the chat. That's some vampire shit. I've heard about it before. It's crazy. It's probably been going on for years. Yeah, so that's what tripped me out about the kidney shit. Was like, I thought that this was some stuff like, oh, we got a bright future. This is crazy. Can you imagine? And like, years from now, we'll be able to do this. And it's like, no, bro. They already started doing it years ago. This guy has a multi-year-old kidney made from stem cells in his body, and he's still alive, and he'd be dead if he didn't get the kidney transplant. That's fucking crazy. So anyways, that's about, like, before we start getting into the moon landing and all kinds of shit, let me hop off this live, guys, because I'm not even sure what I'm allowed to say on this platform. I should look it up, because we could really get deep into some of these theories, but, I know they don't like us talking about how definitely we went to the moon, and that was totally legitimate, and obviously they just got rid of all the technology and we never went back, and then we still haven't landed on it. But that's totally true. And the president called them on a landline before we had cell phone technology. He called them on a landline. Hey guys, I'm on a landline. I was on a dial-up rotary phone, and I called you guys and I talked to you while you're on the moon. And that totally happened. So anyways, guys, I love you. Let me pop off before we get on a rabbit hole and get my whole channel fucked. All right. Anyways, shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Everybody's got notifications on because I go live at random times, but I go live every day. And shout out to my subscribers, man. You guys are the realists. I don't want these fucking dweebs subscribing, right? I only want real ones. I'd rather have a strong fucking army of like-minded individuals spreading good vibes, good energy, you know what I mean? And we're just out here just representing rather than a bunch of fucking dorks in the comments. Anyways, that's another rant for another day. Love you guys. Peace.